East Peoria, Morton, Pekin, if you are in the path of this cell, now is the time to take shelter. Get to your basement, get to the centermost portion of your home, and take cover. I am hearing things right now, Chuck.
Yes.
I think we may need to take shelter right now ourselves.
We do.
We need to go off the air.
Yeah.
We will be back when we can.
Right. We'll be right back.
On November 17, 2013, a Category EF4 tornado struck the central Illinois area near the cities of Pekin and Washington. More than 1,400 homes and countless businesses had been reduced to rubble in a matter of moments. As news broke of the devastation, a small group of police officers and firefighters from Buffalo Grove, Illinois, hatched a plan to help their brothers and sisters, fellow police officers, firefighters, and dispatchers who lost their homes in one of the worst tornadoes Illinois had ever seen. As our team worked through how to help, we reached out through organizations and networks that bind first responders together across the country. We began identifying those police officers, firefighters, and dispatchers whose homes were destroyed or significantly damaged. In the end, we found 27. 27 first responders and their families whose lives had been changed forever in a matter of seconds. With full support from the leadership at the Village of Buffalo Grove, we decided on a 3-day drive to collect gift cards and dry goods. The local media grabbed the story. Several other police departments and fire departments joined our collection efforts, and the business community jumped in to help. On Tuesday, November 26th, armed with a small team of dedicated, committed people, we made the trip to lend a helping hand.
The person on the weather radio said, confirmed touchdown in East Peoria, it's headed north at 60 miles an hour. And I went, I'm north. So I walked to the front of the house, walked around to the front of the house and opened the door. And the tornado was the next street over. And it was absolutely immense. I knew at that moment there was absolutely no way that it was missing my house. It was so big I couldn't believe it. So I turned around, grabbed my son, my 8-year-old son by the arm, and we took off down the stairs, and we came running around here and got right in this corner where this water bottle's at. And I wrapped my arms and my legs around him. And I just covered him up here, and we were down here for, I'll bet, about 15 seconds, and the house just disintegrated. I could hear, all the glass breaking and all the pieces of lumber just splintering and coming apart. And we're sitting right here, and you can look through and see daylight over there. When it tore the back of the house off, it tore that box sill off, and I knew then that the house would be completely gone when we got back on the stairs. And I got up to the top of the stairs and was definitely not prepared for what I saw. And neither one of us had any shoes on. And it was, we were all soaking wet. Because all the pipes burst and all the water's pouring down on us down there. And I walked them out there. Those two piles were not there. It was all just scattered throughout the yard. I set him down, my boy down. And I said, don't move, don't go anywhere. And I went back here and crawled over a big pile of debris to get to my squad that was right out there by where she's standing. And I leaned in the window and touched the on button on my radio, and thank God that the battery still worked in the car, and powered it up and called headquarters and said, it's 833. I told them my address and said, tornado just wiped out this neighborhood. We're going to need some help over here. And then the radio just blew up with everybody who was at home with their radios on, listening. And when they heard me say that, just blew. The sergeant immediately got on and said, call 82 and 84, let them know what's happening, and he was on his way. And the radio just blew up with people coming on the air to come to this neighborhood. And then I finish up and I come down here. We have a quick family hug, and I say, go find a neighbor's house that's got more of a basement than we do and get in it, because this thing may not be over with. So I run back and get on the radio and say, Peoria 833, can you check with the weather service, find out if this is all done with? And she comes right back and says, we are still under a tornado warning for another 45 minutes, and it's very unstable. So I sent them away, and I grabbed my orange tape, went to this house first, and then that one, and hit a couple on this block, and checked the homes for, injuries and people who are trapped. And then I came to my street, and my across the street neighbor was already out with the crescent wrench, turning gas at the meter, because this whole thing smelled like natural gas, this whole neighborhood. So he knew to dig in and get after it. So I did that for the next couple hours, checking houses for injuries and people who were trapped. And then we started digging through this piles of rubble to find my duty weapons.
I was doing something in the kitchen, and Mom opened up the sliding door here. She steps out and she just goes, "Oh my gosh, Sadie, you gotta come see this. Get your video ready." So I'm like, okay, walking the door like this, getting my video ready. As soon as I stepped out, I'm rolling, and it's just, from that direction.
We gotta go.
That was our warning. So, 20 seconds after that, it just came down. I think I kept waiting for the sound of glass to break. I knew the windows were going to go, and I never heard it. It was one of those things I didn't think about until after the fact, but there was an interior door here from the garage into the house. All of the exterior doors were closed, garage doors closed, all that. This interior door is slamming open and shut. That's how just great the pressure, just the vacuum of it was. Next I knew, as I was leaning against the side, standing up here, the walls just started to bend, and it's just like it exploded. I got hit in the head, thrown backwards down the stairs, but she'd been right. My squad car was upside down in between the houses here. I went to that, the Army called in there to try to get to the radio, and got a busy signal. It knocked out all the towers. Found my neighbor, told him where Mom was, and then I remembered my dog was buried with me on the stairs, so I came back to the front of the stairs, and she was staring at me under a bunch of debris, just, help me. So I ran down and I dug her out and carried her up like a little lamb and sat her next to Mom. And, from there it's just kind of a blur as far as trying to make sure everyone's accounted for in each house. after it finally just started soaking in that, okay, this is gone. What do we do next? There were really two major things left to find from the state police, and that was my computer and my wallet with my other badge in it. And after a couple days, still couldn't find either one of them. And got a Facebook message from somebody saying, "Hey, I found your wallet. Give me a call at such and such number." So I called her, and I said, "I kind of hate to ask this question, but where are you?" And she said, "Well, I'm over on such and such street in Washington. It's about 3/4 of a mile away from where we live." She said she was out raking her yard, and she's like, "Oh, it's a wallet." And she opened it. She's like, "Oh, that's not just a wallet." So, yeah, got my needs a little cleaning, but got my badge, all my IDs, everything's still in there.
Police officers, firefighters, and dispatchers are a unique breed. At times, they work under extreme stress to ensure the safety of the public. When tragedy strikes and first responders become victims themselves, the suffering is multiplied. First responders are never off duty. Story after story during our visit was of these police officers, firefighters, dispatchers, digging themselves out of the rubble, getting their families to safety, and then jumping into the fray to help neighbors, friends, and people they had never met. Trooper Miles Walsh, a victim himself and a first responder, said it best: "The story isn't the wind. The story starts after the wind."